For you.
Everybody ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, are we ready? All right. Good afternoon. I'm Inspector Dave Bishop of the Owen Sound Police Service. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Owen Sound Police Service and thank you for attending as we provide a long-awaited update into the August 2023 death of local Owen Sound resident and business owner Sharifur Rahman. For today's media presentation, you'll be hearing first from Detective Inspector Jane Conway of the Ontario Provincial Police, who led the investigation. Following Detective Inspector Conway will be Chief of Police Craig Ambrose of the Owen Sound Police Service, followed by Detective Chevonne Martin, who will be bringing remarks on behalf of Sharifur's family. There will be an opportunity for questions. However, I would ask that you withhold any questions until the conclusion of the remarks from those speakers. I will further advise that portions of this investigation remain active and the charges in this case will be coming before the courts, so we may be restricted from answering questions that deal with specifics of the case or evidence that may be presented in court. Finally, I would also ask that you limit your questions today solely to this investigation. After the questions are concluded, the speakers will be made available for one-on-one interviews for any requests that you may have. And I would like to start by introducing our first speaker, Detective Inspector Jane Conway of the Ontario Provincial Police. Jane.
Thank you, Inspector Bishop. I'm Detective Inspector Jane Conway with the Ontario Provincial Police Criminal Investigation Branch. Over a year has passed since Owen Sound resident Sharifur Rahman was assaulted and tragically succumbed to his injuries. His death has deeply affected not only his loved ones but the entire community. We understand that the public and media have had many questions, and today we are pleased to finally provide the answers they have been seeking. Officers from the Owen Sound Police Service promptly began investigating the assault on August 17, 2023. When Sharifur succumbed to his injuries on August 24, 2023, the Owen Sound Police Service sought assistance from the OPP, and the investigation continued under the direction of the OPP Criminal Investigation Branch. Soon after, police learned that the 3 male suspects had fled the country, leading to collaboration with international partners to coordinate their arrests abroad. On August 15, 2024, OSPS and OPP released limited information that arrests have been made in this investigation. We understand the public and media's frustration over the lack of details. However, a sealing order issued by a Justice of the Peace prohibited the disclosure of arrest details. This measure was taken to ensure the suspect's apprehension was not compromised and to prevent any potential negative impact on the arrests. As the information has been unsealed, we can now state that 3 individuals, all citizens of the United Kingdom, have been arrested and charged with criminal code offences. On July 29, 2024, Robert Evans, 24 years old, was arrested and charged with manslaughter. Robert Busby Evans, 47 years old, has been arrested and charged with accessory after the fact to commit indictable offence. On October 29, 2024, Barry Evans, 54 years old, was arrested and charged with accessory after the fact to commit indictable offence. The 3 accused remain in custody at this time. The investigation was completed by the OSPS under the direction of the OPP Criminal Investigation Branch and involved members from the OSPS Crime Unit, OPP West Region Crime Unit, OSPS and OPP Forensic Identification Services, and the OPP Regional Support Team, in conjunction with the Office of the Chief Coroner and Ontario Forensic Pathology Service. We are incredibly thankful for the insistence and work of police services in West Grey and Hanover, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Interpol Ottawa Fugitive Apprehension Support Team, and United Kingdom law enforcement members of the National Extradition Unit from the National Crime Agency and Police Scotland. While it is too early to provide a timeline for the extradition, we are pleased to announce that the accused individuals have been arrested. We are now coordinating with our international partners and the Ministry of the Attorney General to determine the next steps for their extradition. We appreciate the patience and support of the community and the media. The investigation into Sharifur's death has been complex and involved a coordinated effort of many agencies, partners, and units. This was all in an effort to hold people accountable for his death. The public's support and numerous tips have been invaluable. I will now pass it over to Owen Sound Police Chief Craig Ambrose. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon, everyone. On August 17th, 2023, our community was shocked by the news of an assault on a cherished member, Sharifur Rahman. Sharifur was known by many for his generosity, community involvement, and the local restaurant, the Curry House. His subsequent passing on August 24th, 23, as a result of his injuries, shook the very framework of our city and beyond. While the public has had questions about the events, the investigative integrity of our investigation had to be maintained. I understood and shared the frustration of our community by not being able to provide timely updates to the investigation. Today, I am happy that we are now here able to provide more details. The investigative team worked tirelessly from the time of the incident to identify those responsible and bring them to justice. The dedication of everyone assigned to this investigation was recognized by the leaders of the services involved, and the investigators should be recognized publicly for their dedication and devotion to this investigation. And I'd like to publicly thank all the members here today. No resources were spared from the Owen Sound Police Service, and we appreciate the assistance provided by the OPP and their support units. Within a short period of time, the investigators are well on their way to identifying those responsible. The extradition process is lengthy, and investigators have continued to work tirelessly to move this investigation forward. The investigative process was delayed as a result of suspects leaving the country, as mentioned by Detective Inspector Conway, and I would also like to thank all the police and legal resources, both in Canada and the UK, for assisting with this investigation. Our community will continue to wonder and try and make sense of this tragedy, and hopefully, as the process moves forward, the healing can continue and accelerate as more information becomes available. Finally, to the family and friends of Sharifur, I want to again extend our condolences. Our investigators have worked tirelessly to bring the perpetrators to justice and to find you closure. We will continue to support you as we move through the court process. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Detective Constable Chevonne Martin, Owen Sound Police Service.
Thank you, Chief. I'm Detective Constable Chevonne Martin with the Owen Sound Police Service. I will now read a statement on behalf of Shaila Nazrin, Sharifur's wife. First, I would like to thank you, each and every one who worked really hard together and made progress in this case. Although it is a complicated case, I have faith in the rule of law. I have been waiting patiently since August 17th, 2023, and I believe justice will be served for my husband. In addition, I am thankful to the community for the support we have received. Thank you to the media for being respectful towards my decision. I was not comfortable, and I am not comfortable talking about the terrible incident over and over again. I wish to have the same support from the media. Thank you again.
Thank you. That concludes our statement and our remarks from the speakers. We can now entertain some questions, but I would again ask you to understand that some of those questions the responses may be limited due to the ongoing court matter that's going ahead. So, yes, sir.
Sean O'Shea with Global News in Toronto. A question for either the OPP or the Owen Sound Police. There's a lot of evidences on this press release. Can somebody please explain the familial relationship between the Evanses, the ones that are charged? Father, son, brother. Can somebody please characterize that?
While we continue our investigation, I realize that the media have a lot of questions, and I appreciate the interest, but we cannot put ourselves in a position where we may negatively impact the extradition process. So what I do want to reinforce is that Sharifur was assaulted and succumbed to his injuries as a result of that assault.
Okay, so you can't say whether they were related. Clearly they were related. You can't see how they were related.
That's correct. At this time, any information that could negatively impact the extradition would be inappropriate for us to comment.
Follow-up question then, were they here as visitors? Were they here on vacation? Were any of these people in the military on a visit or anything like that? Can you talk about give us a little bit of inkling of why they were here?
All three individuals are residents of the United Kingdom, and they were here visiting Canada.
So they were tourists?
They were here visiting Canada.
Do you know why they were visiting Canada?
Again, I can't speak to information that may negatively impact the extradition process.
Can you tell us if they were, yes or no, were they members of the military?
They're residents of the United Kingdom.
Miranda Miller, Owen Sound Current. We received information several months ago with the name BuzzFeed that indicated they were here working. Can you tell us whether they had work visas?
We received over 100 tips from the community, and I really do want to thank the community for their participation in this investigation. The tips were invaluable in assisting with this investigation. But to further comment on the content of those tips would lead us to speak about evidence, which I'm not prepared to comment on today.
Could you speak to why the charge is manslaughter and not something else?
Sharifur succumbed to his injuries as a result of an assault, and so the appropriate charge is manslaughter in this instance.
It sounds like you knew who they were early on. Can you give us a sense of how? You've alluded a couple of times to tips.
We conducted a comprehensive and thorough investigation and took the appropriate time necessary to ensure that our investigation was thorough. The tips that we receive from the public are part of that comprehensive investigation.
Have any police officers, either the Owen Sound Police Service or the OPP or any Canadian police officers, been to Britain and interviewed these suspects in person?
Again,
or travel to abroad?
Again, we're not going to discuss any information relating to anything that's transpiring in the United Kingdom that may have an impact on any extradition proceedings.
Could I ask what the court dates are? Do you know their next court dates in the UK and where they are?
I have no updated information with respect to timelines. That extradition process is a lengthy process, and I don't have any timelines at this point.
Can you tell us where in the United Kingdom they were arrested? What police service arrested them?
We received assistance from the National Extradition Unit of the National Crime Agency and Police Scotland in the United Kingdom.
So are they being held in Scotland now?
Again, I'm not going to release any details with respect to the extradition process. Those are the services in the United Kingdom that provided us with assistance to conduct the arrests.
It's quite extraordinary that the police service, with due respect, would not identify where the accused was situated. How would that compromise extradition?
Again, the process that takes place within the United Kingdom, I don't have any control over that information, and so those questions I'm unable to answer at this time.
Can you tell us if they departed through Pearson? I didn't see them listed at all in the agencies that assisted.
Again, the active investigation limits my ability to comment on the evidence that we've obtained throughout the investigation, and so I'm unable to answer that question.
Did video evidence play any role in the arrest? Video from the street, from the bank, from any of the businesses on the road?
We received volumes of information throughout our investigation, and video is one aspect of any comprehensive investigation.
Can you confirm that the suspects that were captured in those photos that were released by police are at least two of these three?
Again, that revolves around the evidence with respect to the investigation, and I'm not at liberty to comment on that.
How
We
soon
have
after?
time for one more question, then we're going to move to some the one-on-one interviews if they're being requested, please.
That's a big.
Thank you.
I was just gonna ask, maybe I'll ask one and then I'll ask a follow-up. How soon after the incident, the killing, did the suspects leave Canada?
Again, that would surround the evidence involved with the investigation, so I'm not going to comment specifically, other than to say it was shortly after.
And then my follow-up is, can you speak to Owen Sound as a small city? It's obviously, I don't know if that's you or the police chief, it's a small city. This crime obviously rocked the city. How difficult was it for a small police force like yourselves to deal with this sort of international crime, this crime that spanned, oceans?
So thank you for your question. Obviously, it had a huge impact on our community. Sharifur was known by many within the community because of his community involvement. And if you recall, that was the third homicide in 6 weeks, or approximately 6 weeks in the summer of 2023 in Owen Sound. And it overwhelmed our capacity for quite some time, hence the reach out for assistance from the Ontario Provincial Police and their assigned units.
Can you tell us about are you proud of the work your officers did, or can you talk a little bit about the work that your officers did and how they cooperated with police in the UK?
I won't get into specifics about the cooperation because that gets into evidentiary information, but yes, I'm extremely proud of the work that was done by not only the members of the Owen Sound Police Service, but by the assistance that we were provided through the Ontario Provincial Police and the other partners through both law enforcement and the judiciary throughout Canada and in Europe, obviously. And you know what? That's what brought this to a successful outcome.
Thanks, Chief. Okay, thank you, everyone. I think just to sum it up, please understand that I know that you do still have a lot of questions. Those questions will be answered as the court process moves along. This is somewhat unconventional because we are dealing with a multitude of court processes, not just the localized criminal process here, but also processes that are undergoing in the United Kingdom. So it does cause some restriction in terms of the things that you can and can't say. So I would like to thank you all for coming, and if there is anybody that would like to have access to our speakers today for some individual one-on-one, we'd be happy to entertain that now. Thank you.
Good job, Jane.